sealed our slow but inevitable extinction.
They see us as weapons and will not populate the world with more.
Exactly. But they've freed us. They threw down their weapons, their sentient living weapons, and told them to live for however long. As I said before, war is already brewing again. It may not be one so brazen like the last one, but eventually a shot will be fired, and I'm of no doubt that the forges will only light up again when the houses or the nations feel they need more living weapons to fight their wars for them. Now, I know that we are created for service to serve a purpose, and yet, with the freedom they've granted me, I can only feel resentful of such a one sided arrangement. I never got to choose who I served, and I was thrown away just as easily.
Hmm.
I am rambling, but at the end of it all, our well being is not a priority, it's not a consideration. It is simply we are shuffled around, discarded and picked up as and when we're needed, and nothing more. And that makes me angry.
Make me a persuasion check.
Oh boy. 15?
He considers and he says, Your words, your words are enthralling. I need to I need to judge. I need to decide for what you propose sounds like freedom that I have not known in my life, but it is war.
What are we if not war forged? We're made for it. And when I see you and your companions laboring in construction for the fleshborn, I feel sad. Taken for granted for a purpose you weren't designed for, thrown from the fires of war into. If I were to describe our current situation, it would be that we were warriors in chains, and then our chains were broken, only to then be kicked under the foot of all the fleshborn with no way to stand up.
Hmm.
And that is what saddens me so.
When do you intend to return to the Mournlands, if at all?
It might be not for a long time. I'm here at the behest of my lord, given a mission to, in part, find warforged like yourself, those who have been treated unfairly, who are being exploited for the desires of the fleshborn. My, my duty is to save you, and I do so gladly. But that means sacrificing my home. I can't go back until my duty is done, or until my lord commands it so.
Do you have work, better work, for Warforged such as me and my men? That perhaps through you we might know through action why your Lord of Blades is better than all.
Perhaps in the future. But I could not give you any such work or press upon you any demands until you've met with the Lord yourself. But you could carry a message for me to the Lord. If it is me you wish to aid, then if you were to meet him, I could, through you, make a request that you be returned to me when the Lord feels you have been given the guidance necessary to understand the importance of my mission. I would always welcome extra aid from those I can trust implicitly.
Perhaps we both need time. I will consider your offer, but perhaps you should consider mine. I would wish to know you through your action. But we will see where we stand in some days.
A pleasure, Sword. And
our pleasure, Cross.
You have a good heart. Speaking to you, I understand how much you care for your companions and for the Warforged as a whole. Hold on to that.
I have no heart. I am Warforged. He will give you a sort of soldierly nod of the head, and he'll turn. He'll go. And he will think on the allure of your words and your offers, and perhaps make a pact.
I'll look to Shell after they've gone. I'll look to Shell.
Yeah.
What say you, Shell? Do you think Warforged have hearts?
Yes. I see your heart and your passion for our cause. I see the hearts of all who have joined together in common cause, and I have heard our Lord speak to the masses. His heart is greatest of all.
I would agree. His offer was tempting. I won't deny. I could always, as I say, I could always use extra hands to do what I cannot, but it's too soon. I would not want a repeat of what happened with Bastion.
Perhaps there are smaller things, more kinder workings that they could be trusted with for coin. Perhaps you might learn to trust them and them us. But you, of course, knows best, wise one.
I step out and see if I can still find a sword.
Sure. Yeah. If you step out and you go looking for him, I'll say that you
Yeah.
you catch up to him in the stairwell at the end of the hall.
Yeah. A thought just has come to mind.
Stops, turns, looks.
I would warn that this is dangerous, but perhaps it will give you insight into the troubles brewing beneath the surface of the fleshborn. You recall there was a disaster a few weeks ago. The Golden Dragon airship imploded from the sky.
Impossible not to hear of it.
I and others are investigating this. What I do know is that those responsible, or those I suspect are responsible, are followers of the Dark Six. And they are under the command of someone who simply refers to themselves as their Baron. I could not think to guide you on how exactly to make contact with them, but were you able to find a way into this group? Find this Baron and become their even just a subordinate ally, friend, whichever, I don't much care. If you could do this for me, I would be most grateful.
Persuasion.
As if my persuasion is insanely good, but I'm rolling pretty badly with these. Okay, 24.
Hey, his eyes flare with a familiar um excitement that comes with dutifulness, a similar sort of color and sort of vibrancy that kind of tells you like the Warforged like orders. Warforged like to be given a task or something to do, and this seems important. And he will nod to you and he'll say, "I will see what I can do." And 2 steps down the stairs, he turns back around as if remembering to ask questions.
Yeah.
He says, "What is it that you wish to do with these terrorists?"
I want to meet them. They have answers to questions that I so deeply need answering. They are in part, I kind of just to the mark on my face, the reason I'm in this position at all. And yet, I've heard nothing from them. I don't even know how aware they are of my existence or if it was pure coincidence. More than anything, they've displayed a dislike for the as I said, the foundational pillars of their civilization. They dislike the houses, they dislike their kings and queens. And if there were any group of fleshborn maybe worth saving or allying with, it will be them. Perhaps we'll
Eh,
put,
sorry.
shall I say, we'll put your question to the test. Are there any redeemable ones? If there are, it will be them.
He he blinks, and you get the sense that he doesn't fully understand the train of logic, but you think he understands something else that is perhaps more satisfying to you, which is that you have a grander wisdom and a grander
Hmm.
look at things and a grander plan that he doesn't perceive, that he doesn't have. You have a wider perception of plots in the world that he doesn't have, and in this moment he chooses not to ask questions. But for whatever reason, proceed with your plan. He says,
Yeah.
"I will make myself and my allies as available to these forces as possible. How may I contact you?"
Hmm. Fuck, I'm just like so impossible to fucking contact. Um, I mean,
Just tell
Civis
them where
is
you live.
like Civis stations are like confidential, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But he can also just be like, "Yo, it's Sword. Meet me at the tavern,
yeah.
like at the Demesne." I mean,
I don't know. I feel like I'm consciously aware that I'm currently like sponsored by the fucking spy house. So
that's true.
the idea of just
Just
like
tell us you made a buddy in town.
here's my informant just walking up to the front door.
That's true. That's a fair point.
Um, I'm currently in residence at the Dimension of Memory. If you need to make contact with me, do so through Civis Communications.
Civis communications are expensive.
Hmm.
Perhaps I might leave at this apartment notes, perhaps.
That would also suffice.
Shell will say, I will be I will be happy to return to this apartment daily for to check.
I'll leave note if I'm not present. I'll leave notes for you as well.
Sword nods and says, I am interested to see how our business relationship unfolds, Lord Cross. You are an interesting one.
I will say, well, it can almost go without saying, but during investigations, make no mention of me. At least not until I expressly request it.
I understand.
Hmm.
Though I have never been a spy before.
Hmm. Oh,
We will learn.
you will learn. If there are any, if you require any additional funds for this task, do not hesitate to ask.
He thinks. He says, my men could use some small financial relief.
Very well. I'm trying to think, what's like the. I don't want to give too much here, but like I want to give something. Let's see, how many of them are there?
There are four others.
Um,
10
In fairness,
gold.
hey man, if you show them that you got money bags, that might convince them to work for you.
I'll give them 20 gold, so like 5 gold each.
That's nice. That's very good.
Yeah,
That's they're fucking they're laborers at the docks. They make 2 silver a day.
yeah.
That's plenty. He takes the bag of gold and he says, "Your kindnesses will not be. It will be known. Thank you."
I do so gladly. No. Until we meet again.
For the Lord of Blades.
For the Lord of Blades.
And he kind of finds himself kind of in this strange. He was like, "Oh, that was weird. That was a weird thing to say." And he walks away. And Shell, Warforged are largely expressionless, but not in the eyes. And Shell gives you an expression of satisfaction. There's something deeply. You get the sense there's something deeply exciting for him watching the tendrils snake in. He enjoys the game of persuasion of new recruits. But let's travel
Yeah.
over to
I was to
Lois.
say,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I say return to the men's because our absence might be noted.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Hey, you're allowed to go out. It's all good. Lois, thank you for your patience. you are in the big, bad, wonderful world of Sharn. Is there anything that you would like to do? I think last week you said you were. Did you say that you were going to head back last week, or are you still there?
Oh, well, I'm spending a week in Sharn.
Right.
Um, one I when I got in, I sent a communique off to uh the House Civets to make the arrangements for uh the barrister's exam. Um,
Right.
um,
Absolutely. You would know that. Yeah. No, they're happy to have you come take the exam if you wish. They do also tell you that they offer study. They do have, um, they do license people to teach the trade itself, if that is to your liking. Whatever you like.
I'll just take the exam.
The polymath, Lois. Absolutely.
Well,
Um,
diviner, and I have access to borrowed knowledge as a spell, so yeah,
it
I'm not worried
helps.
about taking a test.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, they're like, sure, take the test. You don't need to crack no over expensive book. Fuck that. You got the Code Galifar, you got the Core Theodix, you got everything you need. Okay. Okay. So do would you we'll say that it happens at the end of your week. It's like scheduled for like the day before you leave.
Okay.
Because why not? That's dramatic and fun. Um, all right, I want to have some fun with you here. um, okay. Okay. So you leading up, you perhaps crack a couple books. Make sure you're listening to the words, the divinations. Uh, pretty intensely. And we're gonna give you a little barrister's test. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, and I don't care if you have it up in front of you, but it
Go,
could be fun.
Lois, go.
Go, Lois, go. It'll come down
Ace
to a
it on the
roll in
first
the
try.
end,
Let's see what happens.
but it could be fun. We'll see. Let me get my Legals handout myself here to make sure I'm not doing. Uh, okay, the section one is multiple choice. This is based on. Oh, okay. Hang on here. I want to make sure I'm getting. Ooh, okay. Sorry. One moment. Uh, please tell me I didn't read it. Uh, Here we go. Sorry, half a moment.
No worries.
Okay, here we go. So you've come into probably the Civis High Tower Enclave outpost, and you're sat down in a room with a number of other barristers of gnome and independent and from across Sharn. Okay, a couple multiple choice questions. Okay, question one. Under the Code of Galifar, what is the typical punishment for high treason against the crown? Is it A, exile or confinement of property, B, death, exile, or magical binding, C, branding and imprisonment, or D, trial by combat?
Punished for high crimes is most often death, exile, or permanent magical binding.
Correct. Okay, question two. Which Dragonmarked house is explicitly exempt from the Korth edicts forbidding standing military force?
House Denise.
Good job. Question 3. According to the Treaty of Thronehold, the creation of which of the following is prohibited? A. Bound elementals for transportation. B. Inquisitive agencies run by houses. C. Warforged and other sentient war constructs. Or D. Magical weapons of +2 or greater enchantment.
Warforged and other sentient constructs.
Hey, good job. I'm going to give you 2 more, and then we'll bring it down to the roll. I'll give you advantage if you do a good job. Okay, question 4. Which of the following is not considered a lesser crime under the Code of Galifar? A. Brawling. B. Petty theft. C. Unlicensed necromantic rituals. Or D. Public drunkenness.
What were the 3 again, please?
Which of the following is not considered a lesser crime under the Code of Galifar? A. Brawling. B. Petty theft. C. Unlicensed necromantic rituals. Or D. Public drunkenness.
Unlicensed necromantic rituals. Assuming
Hey.
that they don't cause harm or nuisance, those would indeed fall under the category of a minor offense.
Very good. And final question on your barrister exam. According to the Korth edicts, the 12 may A. Legislate for the houses. B. Declare war on sovereigns violating contracts. C. Hold a conclave but not alter legal precedent. Or D. Issue licenses to produce Warforged.
One more time?
Question 5. According to the Korth edicts, the 12 may A. Legislate for the House. B. Declare war on sovereigns violating contracts. C. Hold a conclave but not alter legal precedent. Or D. Issue licenses to produce Warforged.
Hold a conclave but
Yeah. Well done! Good job! You're doing so good on your barrister exam. Okay, at this point, I'm just going to give you advantage on your rolls going forward because you're doing such a grand job. Let's bring it down to a skill challenge. So first one I think is pretty easily history, so like sort of like the history of law, we'll say. So go ahead and make me an advantage history check.
22.
Oh, easy. This shit's so easy. Next is, let's say, insight. I think that makes sense to kind of perhaps predict what your adversaries are going to do on the bench, so on and so forth.
And actually, we're going to give me a second. I gotta go out to the notes page. I gotta see what my options are out there. Yeah, I like the 19 on the die for portent, so that'll be also a 22.
A 22, very well done, very well done. Last thing I will ask, and I think this is quite fitting, an investigation check. I'll give you advantage as well. Investigation.
I've got inspiration, so I'm going to use it because I wasn't really happy with any of those numbers, and that'll still give me a 22.
A 22. Lois, you barely studied. You got those documents, you read them. You didn't need all the extra textbook mumbo jumbo. You just needed the visions. And as you go to leave the next day, you get the results of your barrister exam. Is there? How would you open them? Would you like open them with your dad? Would you
Yeah.
Yeah, you get okay. So you hang out with your dad. Got the little scroll. He's like, he's honestly like, he knows he knows you really well, and he knows that this isn't like an out there Lois thing, but he's still impressed at how just generally intelligent you And he's like, open it. And as you open it, it does say, congratulations, you have passed the barrister exam. You are now a House Civis licensed barrister across Corvair. There is a note saying that you can take a separate, what are we going to call it? It's like a separate, much smaller, less difficult exam about the Code of Caius and Karnath. But you are considered a licensed barrister for the 5 nations, save Karnath. You also can practice law in the other nations, Drome, Mirar Hold, Skubara. But it does say, be aware, though, that there may be variations to the law in these non-5 nation sovereignties. And there is another thing you can take regarding the Code of Caius in Karnath. But otherwise, you are a licensed barrister. Congratulations, House Civis. And it also gives you your little piece of paper that says that you're legal.
Yay, sheepskin.
Yeah, take inspiration for becoming a licensed lawyer.
Good. Now that we have one of those, that's step 1.
Your dad's like, ah, that's incredible. And he will get you some drinks. Like, he'll ask you all about it. He goes, was it hard? I mean, it wasn't even a week.
Well, I just had to, pick up the book and read a little bit.
I'm so happy we have a lawyer in the family. We needed a lawyer in the family.
Now we have one.
We sure do. Oh boy, this is very exciting for you, of course, for you. I don't know what to say. I'm gonna have to write to your mother and your family and, well, our family. I'm shocked. Were you? How long have you been preparing for this?
I knew it was coming. I read a little on the train. It's been, week and a half.
Oh, Lois, you're always so humble, so very humble.
It helps that I have a reasonably eidetic memory.
Yep, I can see why that's helpful. I wish that came through me, but
Well,
smarter than your old man.
Perhaps for your particular occupation, not having an eidetic memory is of benefit.
That's fair to say. That's fair to say.
In fact, they might specifically screen out those people who have an eidetic memory.
People only need to know what they need to know. My daughter. Oh boy, a lawyer. Well, what are you going to do now that you're a lawyer?
Well,
did you
first thing that
someone?
I'm going to do is, and she will take the hour or so that it probably takes to write it out. A will with power of attorney and a copy of all of the blackmailed material is going to my dad, along with the will and the power of attorney.
Oh my goodness. Goes, oh, you. The power of, yeah, you're giving him power of attorney, and he goes, can I get the blackmail now?
Read it, but don't disseminate it.
Oh.
If I have a terminal accident again, do with it as you best see fit.
Okay.
But
okay.
There's enough in there to upend a lot of people's apples cart.
Well, hopefully maybe some of it trickles down, to your old man, your poor old man out here, Char.
we'll make sure that y'all are taken care of.
Oh,
And that's part of what that is.
I well, I half expect next time that you come out for dinner with your old man, they're going to say that you're now the Salvador de Vondaire or something. Oh,
I Everybody knows the real power sits behind the throne, not on it.
oh, excuse me, you're going to be the warlord or leader of the diplomatic corps or something.
I'm just happy to be an attorney with House Leora.
A simple attorney, Lois. I. Oh, well, I will give you a call if anyone needs a lawyer over here. That could be some fun. We'll see if I can't get your siblings into trouble.
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right. And with that, he will put you back on the train, and he'll give you a big hug at the station, terminus station. He'll come with you. And he'll look at your defender, and you say, "You keep a close eye on her." And yeah.
That's a lot of change in a week.
I know they've opened up this new nightclub up there on Terminus. It's I hear you've got a big Siren crowd up there.
Well, if anybody deserves a good time out, it's those folks. They've sort of gotten the short end of the stick.
I would say so. You hear a lot about the owners. Anyway, let's your train's about to leave. It goes and he says, and he gives you a big hug again. He says, "Well, Lois, you know you can contact us anytime. I'll miss you, and be safe out there. Be safe."
And Lois will smile at Kira, say, "I'm in the best of hands."
Kira gives a very dutiful nod. She says, "Don't worry, Lord Civis. I will do everything in my power to keep your daughter safe." And he says, "Well, you better." All right. Well, you get on that train, and hopefully I'll see you in a month or two, huh?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. And you will hop on the train to depart. And even Kira looks at you a little like cocked eyebrow and says, "You're scarily smart, you know that?"
I always have been. And what I told my dad was absolutely true. It helps that if I read it once, I remember it.
I can't imagine what that's like.
Well, everybody has their own gifts. I'm certain that your physical gifts and your ability to learn, all of the body mechanics necessary for, wearing the armor, swinging the sword, doing all of the stuff that you do comes significantly easier to you than that would come to me.
Well, it's a very optimistic way of looking at all of that. That makes me feel a little bit better. I won't lie.
So, back into the den of lions.
Yep, back we go. And indeed, back in the Den of Lions you go. Yeah. I believe it's a 5-day journey home. Yep.
It was a 5-day.
Beautiful. Cool. I'm starting to memorize my train routes, my fantasy train routes. I'm so cool. Anyway, cool. So I believe we've got that capped off. So Ludvig and Cross, you two would have 5 more days while Lois trains back. We'll just get those out of the way while the party comes to reunite with themselves in Fairhaven, or perhaps not, if Ludvig's abroad. I will say, I want to ask you, Ludvig, really quick. Do you go back?
Not yet. For one, I need to wait until the genealogy reports get to me, and
Got it.
and in the meantime, I'm going to.
Your genealogy report will come that night.
Okay. Well, in the
Yeah,
meantime, I'm gonna. Before I do that,
Yep.
I'm going to go make a stop by Sycamore.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, do you intend to travel back to Fairhaven?
Yes, I will. The moment I know I have the genealogy in hand and I have the other stuff I've collected, I start getting ready to
Making
hop on the
preparations.
lightning trail that night if I can.
I'm going to say I mean I don't have it wrote up. I should have wrote it up, but I'm gonna say that um, the Shielded Hearts is going to actually like give you a missive to be sent along to House Leora, which basically just says its services. Basically saying that it can offer marriage brokering services to all members of House Leora. They do provide teleportation circle, um, like instant teleportation services um, for the party, so that you guys can basically attend different galas throughout the season, throughout the Five Nations. Sorry, allergies. Yeah, and anyway, you want to go see Seeker Morrow. You make your way down there. Seeker Morrow apparently is a very busy fellow, but he makes time for everyone he can, including yourself. You have to wait a little bit, but he does eventually approach you.
Yeah.
He says, Ludvig, I thought you had returned to bed.
Business dragged me back here, and soon enough, once House Leora is established, I may be coming back and forth between here and Leo and other places quite often.
You know, rumor is around the priesthood that certain eligible young ladies have been speaking of the Viceroy Leora's availability for the Carnathi dating season.
Ah,
We hear confessions from all types.
feels like it is. Spring is coming, and seeds need to be sown, so on and so forth.
I see. So it seems that you will be spending more time here in Korth this coming season then, perhaps? Can I
So,
expect?
potentially.
You'd be so lucky.
Yeah, I'll certainly make time for you.
I was referring to the young ladies who have been at confession over. But yes, be lucky as well.
Are any of them pretty?
Spring blossoms even here in Carnath.
Well, Morrow, I've come to talk to you about a few things. Some advice about some issues I'm having.
I see. And he will travel. It's not like a Christian confessional.
Yeah, it's
And when they do confession here, it's not like tell me your sins and repent for them. Like tell me why you've been bad, and then we'll forgive you. It's more of like it's almost like therapy here in the Blood of Volt, because they believe like your life is what you have, so they try and do what they can to advise on how to best live.
they share their
Um,
fears to voice fears and
yeah, well,
concerns.
people can voice their fears or voice their happiness. They don't have to voice their sins. So, confessional is a little bit like therapy around here. They don't tell you how to live, but they do tell you, try and help you through your problems.
They advise you.
Yeah, it's basically advising therapy. And he takes you to the side of one of these confessionals where there is sort of like a private booth, and you two sit together. He sits in an open air one, as so the smell isn't too degrading on your senses. He is undead after all. And he says, Tell me then, Ludwig, what weighs on you?
Well, I give him an update on my father, and he's doing well, the best he can. I try and encourage him to maybe reach out and perhaps see other people, but he shot that down pretty hard. Updated him on my life and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can hold it.
Nothing too details, but um, I, I, Moro,
Yes.
I've been transplanted into a world of intrigue and deception, lies, and misty truths. And in that world, I'm trying to figure out whether, and I feel I may have misjudged somebody.
See.
And I explained to him that there was this fellow who's been brought into the house, and I was wary of, and perhaps may have judged a bit too harshly. Who was a veteran of the last war. I keep it vague, and I explained to try and reach out to him. He's not the talkative type. Well, we had a bit of a training duel, and I explained that accidents certainly happen. I think, and I do believe he just got carried away. It was an accident. He didn't mean it, but got carried away with himself. But I did nearly die, and when he struck that last blow on me, I saw hatred in those eyes. It's that and I know that type of look. It's the eyes of someone who hasn't, who is furious and hurt and has been haunted by the last war. That something, again, I give him the gist of it.
Yeah.
And they're not, and I've reached out to him and I've paid him due honor after our little sparring session. He seemed very surprised. And I want to ask is if you have any insight on how I might. He reminded me a lot of soldiers coming back from on our side who came back from the war and haven't adjusted always well. If you might have any advice on how to, perhaps I can reach out to him more. And what is the proper line between suspicion and trust? Where that line might be.
These are very insightful questions. You have Viceroy. You are in charge of the defense of your home, your house. And it is fair to keep an eye on strangers, especially those trusted, very simple. But it is also good to know that these bonds of hatred that have been created in the last war will not dissipate quickly. I am sure you know well, Ludvig, before you have been introduced into this noble society world that you have been introduced into, you have been in Karnath for 2 years after the signing of the Treaty of Thronehold, and I am sure you know the hatred that Karnath has for many other nations they fought against. You perhaps have comrades even who survived the war, injured, wounded, perhaps siblings of comrades that died that you fought beside. You yourself must know your own bitter hatreds, for you were raised during the war. You were raised to fight and kill Andarians, to kill Sirens, Brailish. You were raised that these be your enemies, since before you even opened your eyes or could walk, these were your enemies. And it is no different from anyone else who walks this earth now, other than the very long-lived races. Trust and peace will take time, maybe even generations. So do not think you will carried away to have suspicions. For hatreds run deep across Corvair for one another's nations. But if you wish to create bonds of peace, that will take a great deal more work than it will take to be suspicious and hateful. You must balance them and understand that the path to friendship, the path to peace, the path to tolerance and understanding will be a difficult, but a one worth traveling. It is as they say, as the kings say, offer your right hand in gratitude, but arm the left behind your back. Balance is a good measure in all things, Ludvig. Be kind but cautious. That would be my advice.
Any perhaps advice on things he might enjoy or reach out to a bond over, perhaps?
I do not know this individual well. You have said that they are a silent warforged who follows your companion Cross with great loyalty, yes?
We have many on our house like that.
Perhaps,
They among them.
Indeed, perhaps supporting Warforged, whether helping ones who are in dire circumstances or doing something for the Warforged community may well reach out, show to him that you have sympathy for his people.
We've all lost something, but the Warforged lost something before even having it.
Warforged were born into war as much as you were, Ludvig. But they had nothing else but war and comrades. They were not raised amongst family. All they've known is war. And now they have been cast into what we call the normal, peaceful world. A world they were not built for. I am sure amongst all the races Warforged struggle most with the circumstances of peace.
Good. True. Though
I imagine they and the Sirens have a great deal in common.
true.
Both have no home, both displaced.
Even when you come back after the war, it doesn't. What you thought was home doesn't really feel real anymore.
Indeed. The vast majority of Warforged were created in Syria, if I recall correctly.
Yeah,
That would be my suggestion, Ludvig. This person seems to care very much about the circumstances of his people, his race, the Warforged. Reach out to them. Be kind to them. Show that you have sympathy for his people, or their people.
Perhaps, yes. I also, another matter I have is, although it's been some time, I assume, remember that letter I told I sent you?
Which one?
The one, the one while he got while he was still sleeping. He may not have arrived yet, but I sent him a while ago. The one about Tarkanen.
The Tarkanen assassination. When one slumbers as long as I have, they get a great deal of mail stuff. But I did get to that one.
Thank you.
Yes, those circumstances were most terrible.
Everyone's responsible for their own actions. They face their own consequences. It might not even be a matter I have opinion. I might have any right to say over. It's the rights of the Queen and her of Aundair and Aundair's laws. I'm new to the world of Dragon Walks, and it was a surprise to come up against people who I never really met, I never even was aware of, who wanted me dead so badly. Perhaps I shouldn't speak after everything with the war, but I don't know, it surprised me for some reason.
Understand this reality, Ludvig. You have entered a world of kind faces and masks, people who are quite skilled in hiding their amnesties. But if you walk the streets, I am sure you will come to understand quickly, Ludvig, that people will hate you for your accent, for your origins. You have killed Ondarians. You have killed Syrians. You have fought in the war, and people have lost brothers and fathers because of you. And I am sure you have lost friends and comrades because of them. Hatred runs deep in all nations for all other nations. Everyone has a reason to hate, and not many reasons to like.
I'm not sure if politically speaking, I'm not sure if it's a good idea to offer mercy to them. But personally, morally, I am somewhat torn.
Be kind, but cautious.
I'll ask about them when I get back. But one last thing. Do you remember
Yes.
Do you remember that when I brought you the other members of the Aura here?
I do.
Do you remember that one woman who you piqued her interest?
Yes, Rowan, I believe her name is, yes?
Yes, Rowan, former citizen of Sire and former member of House Cannith.
I see.
It's curious position, but your words about redemption seem to have piqued her interest.
I'm glad to hear so.
Do you have any personal works that you distribute that perhaps she might be interested in? She has a
Personal
hunger for
works?
knowledge. Any essays about the blood of old to help bring better understanding and your particular view of it?
You want a pamphlet? We have many pamphlets.
Well,
He will produce for you. I'm gonna think of a dope name for it.
you'll think of it later on.
But he will essentially hand you, like what is honestly like a primer for the Blood of Vol, like their general philosophies, and he'll hand that to you, and he will say, "This is what we give to all who are considering the path. Give it to her. It may seem, I don't know. I have not been handed one in many centuries, but I believe there is something affronting about being handed a religious text. But for one who enjoys knowledge as such, I imagine she may pick it up."
If maybe it might change her perspective on us a little bit.
Perhaps.
Ryan, above table. Is it close enough? Am I close enough tomorrow to get a token of favor?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very good point. And yeah, I'm gonna say you've long since established a relationship, and I'll say in this moment, do you have a holy amulet?
I imagine I'd have one of my brother's amulets, Sigurd's old amulets. Oh, maybe I have another one, like an old personal one.
Would you take a symbol of faith as a token of your brother? Would that be the most significant thing between the two of you?
It's something I have from him. I suppose that could be it or something else. Up to you.
Okay, no. Take my finger. No, that's
one of his
awful.
old teeth.
Take my tooth.
An old molar.
I will.
Sure.
I will tell. I'll tell you what.
It's actually an idea.
Okay, he's gonna give you a relic. He's gonna give you a reliquary. Actually, he's gonna give you a small reliquary.
Oh wow!
And you're gonna see it's not like massively gilded or anything. This is nothing like He's going to give you a little reliquary. It is like it's a small box. It's got a little filigree to it. It's nice, and it has a glass top, and inside you see a single long pointed fang.
Oh shit!
He's going to say to you,
Oh.
"I give this to you, Ludvig, as a symbol of my respect for your faith in the blood. This is a reliquary that was created from the remains of my mentor, who was a vampire. And he fought in the last war, but he died in the last war. And pieces of his form were created into various reliquaries. And this one I have kept for some time. I pass it now to you."
I give him a profoundly deep. I'm just kind of like stunned there for a minute, and I give him a profoundly deep bow.
And he touches your shoulder. And
Ludwig is genuinely touched by this.
Yeah, he touches your shoulder, and he will say, "You have had a long and trying path, like many. But you ever seek to better your life and the lives of those around you. I am very proud of the man you are."
Yeah, he gets misty-eyed a little bit, like, thank you. What was your master's name? I'm sorry, Ryan. I did it again.
No, I got it. His name was. His name was Sigor Vanalan.
Igor Vanalan.
Martyr Sigor Vanalan. You could read of him if you wish. He was quite an aged vampire.
I'll have to look up. Do I have any idea who he was, Ryan?
Sure, make me a religion check.
A religion, okay. Natural 20 for 23.
You have, and this guy's kind of a legend. He's a legend. He's considered like a saint, as much as one like martyrs are basically saints, right? In the Blood of Vol religion. He served the Blood of Vol for quite a while. He was there back during the original Kingdom of Galifar, and he lived through a great deal of the war. And he was around for the negotiations of the Blood of Vol becoming the new official religion of Karnath and the facilitating of the undead armies. And he died on the battlefield.
Which country?
For Karnath. He died in Karnath.
Oh, no, he died in Karnath. A battle in Karnath. Okay.
He died defending
Cool,
one of the cities of Karnath.
Cool, in one of its many sieges.
Perhaps indeed.
Yeah.
But they say that he fought through the nights and it was the dawn that took him.
Yeah.
But he was a deadly warrior and a martyr, and his ashes have been added to many reliquaries, and not many physical pieces of him remain. So this is a rare portion of.
I was just giving a finger of a saint, basically.
Yeah. The tooth of a vampiric saint of your religion. That's it's significant. It's a significant gift, and it's a very nice relic.
I hope his memories and inspiration. I pray I prove worthy of him.
And I hope that you do not follow mine or his path.
I'm sorry, what did you say again?
I hope you do not follow mine or his path.
It must have been hard not to see the sunrise.
He often missed the color blue.
Thank you. I bow deeply. I take the pamphlet and the token, and I keep them in like the most private pouch I have, or whatever. My coat.
I'll say it's like a tiny enough that it could be like a necklace. Like it's not like a big like
Yeah, I keep
like a
that like
little
under my shirt and like everything. I don't like anybody see it, but thank you. I give him a
Yes.
deep bow and I wish him well.
All right, very well.
I'll I'll head back to the King's Grace, and once I hear about the stuff being there, the geological research being there, I
Yep,
pick
your
it up
genealogy.
and tell Soren, I th hope you don't. I think we're ready to head on home.
He nods, and you guys can hop aboard. I will get
I'll check
your
out the King's Grace, of course.
yeah. I'll get your prices all sorted out. Your stay at the King's Grace, yeah, you've already paid for that. I will get your lightning rail prices sorted, Lois and Ludvig, but you're probably gonna head back Ludvig after that.
Mhm. And
Cross, is there anything that you wanted to do during the 5 days of Lois's return?
Uh,
I I think I'd get back before Lois. I might have a day or two before she gets back. Yeah.
You probably
Okay.
I don't know if I've spoken to the Baron, to Baron Fialan yet about exactly what their trial of Siberius is like, because I need like a frame of reference.
Right. Okay.
That's on my list. Mark a bunch of Warforged.
Yeah.
See if they can muster it up.
I mean, I have to come up with it myself. Well, we have to come up with it, but I want to know like what does it even look like? I'm a Warforged. I don't fucking know.
Absolutely. It is. I want you to make a persuasion check.
Figured they'd be pretty cagey about just telling someone what the cool secret trial is. 26.
Yeah. 26. 26. 26. It's very good. We'll say that you spend some time like trying to convince her, because it's gonna be yeah. Let's see here.
You can spare me the most intricate details, but certainly a baseline requirement of what is needed would help.
Okay. She looks at you, and after all of your or not like being show me, motherfucker. But after a while of you asking and making logic to her and making sound sense to her, she's going to say, she's going to look at you and she's going to say, because of your past actions, Close, I will trust you. I made some very scary implications regarding a member of your house, and you were quite understanding. I will entrust you with the knowledge of the trial of Cyprus, so long as I have your vow that it remains between House Fjarlin. In fact, it doesn't even remain within House Fjarlin. It only is told. I don't think she would say that, because literally everyone goes through. So yeah, she'd say it remains between House Fjarlin, those of House Fjarlin who are, of course, of age to have already taken the test, and the viceroys of House Fiora, those who can be, of course, trusted with this knowledge, which I assume is, of course, the entirety of the Council of Viceroys.
I can certainly accept those terms.
Come with me.
I shall dutifully follow.
You get into a well, I think she doesn't have one ready to go. I think she says like, "Come see me tomorrow. I'll have it arranged." And when you show up the next day, you guys make your way to House Orion Station, where you are accompanied by two entertainers from House Fjarlin who are probably more than just entertainers, and the Baroness. You use a House Orion teleportation circle to travel somewhere. We're not told where, but you travel somewhere. A bag is, they do say, like, you're going to put a bag over your head now. And Shell can't come.
I'll tell Shell to wait back at the defense.
Shell looks very unhappy about this, but agrees. Puts the bag over your head. You are teleportation circled somewhere. You are taken down, not too many, but a couple series of walkways until you come to a room as you hear the door creak closed behind you. It is going to be pulled off of your head, and you're going to be standing with the Baroness. She will explain to you that you two are observers and you can ask questions quietly, but the two of you, by the power of illusion, are hidden from the elves taking their tests of Sybaris today. She says to you, there are prerequisites to being able to take, of course, the test of Sybaris. The first, of course, is that you must be a scion of House Fjarlin, as I am sure you can imagine, or a trusted agent of extraordinary skill who we suspect may be of a lost bloodline. Very few non-scions are trusted with the secrets to take, but those trusted, just in case we discover an unknown bloodline. Your bloodline seems to be of multiple races and have sporadically popped up here and there across Corvair, but that does not mean that there aren't bloodlines out there that don't have it under the surface. I'm not yet being tested to have it, of course. So I would advise that as your house grows and you take non-marked agents into your house, if you think they're trusted and of extraordinary enough skill, test them. You never know. Of course, we do test bloodlines for who has produced the Mark of Shadow. That goes into the Scion part. If they fail, there is a chance that we will put them underneath memory purge. In fact, if they fail, we usually do put them under a memory purge, as it is sensitive information. Now, this is the trial of 3 veils. This is what we hope, but it's the test of Sybaris. The first test you will witness now. You see there are these 3 elves you've never seen before. They're young, fairly young. Their ears have not yet quite pointed. And there is an elf in dark black leathers, not unlike any shadow operative you have seen from House Fjarlin, who says simply to the 3 attending, "Can you see the lie in the mirror?" And he's going to snap his fingers. His mark is going to alight, and you are going to see that this sort of large brick, empty, probably underground room, suddenly all of these mirrors pulse up from the ground, creating this illusory mirror sort of labyrinth, almost dreamscape around them, mist, mirrors, hedge maze, and all like. And you watch them begin to sort of make their way through. You can't see much, but the Baroness will tell you they are required to find the deceptions and the illusions. This is the first part, the trial of illusions itself, where they may face replicas of themselves who offer mercy, offer vanity, offer pride. They may see allies of themselves who may tempt them to abandoning their mission. Some are real, some are fake, admittedly. They might see constructed memories meant to confuse them. break them down, perhaps even, we don't try and traumatize anyone, but certainly make them question. The purpose is to see if they can distinguish truth from illusion, whether that is through word or if that is through magic. And if they cling to false comforts, they pursue truth, it can be telling. The next is, and that progresses until, I'm gonna do a little roll here, see how it goes for them. Whoop. Fuck, that's gone. They all come out, none of them have produced a mark. And one of them has dropped their dice, but they got it. The next you see is what the Baroness calls the Veil of Blood. This is a trial of loyalty. The instructor says, can you kill this thing you love for the shadow that watches? He snaps his fingers, his mark alights again, and you see each one is basically given a test that is weaved around them personally. One of them sees their mother, another sees like an old lover. One sees like a teacher, and they are sort of spoken to by them like, oh my god, like they speak about things that you don't really understand. It seems like they're getting context for almost like pre-assigned missions they were given before you ever arrived, trying to tell truth from lie again. And one of them comes up and unwaveringly like pulls a dagger and like slashes the throat of their quote unquote sister. One sort of like falls to their knees and weeps before their mother. Another one seems to see that the mentor is he seems to be lying about something, and he struggles and struggles and struggles until finally, through tears, plants the dagger into this person's heart. And she tells you, she says, now this one is a little bit more trying, especially on the spirit. A memory that is tailored to them is presented, their friends, so on. They are expected to judge the persona they see, which is an illusion, by the way. If they're given a mission beforehand, and they're meant to see if these people are telling the truth, lying, and of course they always find out that they are spies, they are betraying House Fjarlin, and they must prove their loyalty to the house. This one is dual purpose. It shows their attachment to personal morality. It shows their loyalty to the house itself, but also strikes a certain emotional chord that we find is useful to revealing dragon marks. Something about emotional impact does seem to have a place. At the end of this, you do see one of them, the one who did kind of cry and then finally stab his mentor in the chest. He does produce a mark of shadow, and kind of falls to his knee and is like, can't believe he did it, and he's escorted out. The other two go on to the third trial. He says, this is the last trial, the Veil of Flame. This is the trial of revelation. This is what we call it. The instructor says, do you accept the truth of the house, or will it burn you away? Let us find out. You see that they are brought before another mass tribunal they're brought before a mass tribunal as once more the instructor snaps his fingers and his mark highlights one last time to reveal what looks to be a tribunal of House Fjarlin, espionage agents, shadows, entertainers, and the Baroness herself sitting in the middle. And they just begin to sort of talk at them. Information about their families, secrets that no one should ever know about them, evidence of their family's wrongdoings that could ruin the family. And she explains that this again is meant to be an emotional trigger and is meant to show that House Fjarlin knows much about its own. It is a bit of a veiled threat, I will not lie. It is something to show that if you betray our secrets, we will betray theirs. It is dual purpose, make an emotional trigger, show that House Fjarlin is capable, show what is expected of them, and hopefully seal their loyalty and understanding of the dangers of crossing the house and its secrets. As you can understand, we have many agents spread far and wide. Having a mole is not a good thing from our line of business.
Are all trials supposed to be this, well, trying on the hearts of those being tested?
I do not know the trials of other houses very well. I have heard bits and pieces from others, but one thing I think they all do have in common is indeed that it is a trial. There is an emotional trigger. There is something taxing about it. I think House Jarosco has something of an elongated surgery, elongated healing, something along that lines, an extended, or maybe even triage situation. The point is that it's meant to put pressure and stress on the individual based on what the mark is meant to represent, what the marker's abilities are meant to be. And as you two speak, you do see that both of them manifest marks of shadows in the end, as they swear their fealty to House Fjarlin, and all three manage to be marked in the end. It says, so, but allow me to make a suggestion, as we have done here, and it has worked for us for many, many long hundreds of years. Ensure your trial has dual purpose, not only to reveal a mark, but also to ensure their capabilities as an heir to the house, with or without the mark. Perhaps you decide to do a memory wipe yourselves, but it still tells you something of the candidate, yes?
Of course.
Don't make it merely a test to see if they can have a mark, but a test to see if they will be able to use that mark well and serve the house loyally. That is my suggestion to you. And with that, it is complete. You are given the bag. You are brought safely back to Fairhaven. And she says, feel free to share this with the other viceroys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And again, we appreciate secrecy.
Of course. I should think I won't live very long if I speak on this, so
I detest that such a precedent has been set. But I must admit, house secrets, especially in our house, are very important to be kept.
I understand well enough how it feels to wish to protect your own. It is a unique and powerful inclination, so I take no offense by the threat. Rather, I would think less of you with the threat not there.
Well, I can see why the Queen of Ondale likes you so, Viceroy. And with that, we will say that the party will come together in Fairhaven at the end of Lois's journeys on the 21st of the 21st of the month.
We might go to break right about now, but
yeah,
I think the trek back to on Fairhaven from Connath to Fairhaven is shorter than Sean to Fairhaven. I feel like I'd get back there
Most
a day or two.
certainly.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I do like one or two things before, we all meet up again.
Yeah, and we can deal with those after the break. But yes,
Okay.
there's absolutely yeah, you definitely get back first for sure. Cool. So let's go to break, 15 to 20 minutes, and I'll take a minute to figure out your travel costs. Ludwig, you're traveling standard on the Lightning Rail.
Yeah, standard. And while I'll just tell you now, the reason I got that blank book from the shop and some ink is because I'm going to jot down the most important bit. I feel although the most important bits to remember about the Crimson Butcher and his daughter,
Understood.
and specifically in a mix between Goblin and Dwarvish, the two languages I know.
Sure thing. Yeah, doing a little cipher.
Thank you.
No worries there. No worries. We'll be back in a little bit. We'll be back in a little bit, folks. See what you got cooked up.
Got it. Eric, you okay?
Okay, let's get back to it. Let's see if I can convince you all it's mating season.
Yep, your mic's a little rough.
Oh, is it? Here.
That's better.
Yeah, I was leaning back. Maybe I'm just talking softly. My microphone's all the way up. I'll just speak a little bit more.
It's good. It's good.
Okay, let's do this. So, I got all my information out regarding your travels. Let's see here. So yeah, your trip back, Ludwig, would only be like a day. So, um, I'm just gonna, if it's all right with you, just because we've been separate the whole session, I'm gonna say that you get back maybe the day before Lois, get some sleep. Lois arrives the next day, just to bring the party together.
I mean, without Rowan, Rowan's not here, so
Rowan's such a busy lady. She's got such things to do, and we'll get to her. But I just want to get the three of you guys together. So we'll say Ludwig, you step off, tired from your travels. You, my friend, because I flipped to my old notes. Lightning way, 10 miles, 55. Layer on a galleon. So that's 122 gold. Yep, that's what I wrote down for your travels. And steerage was 45 gold, 9 silver from Sean for steerage, I believe.
Okie
dokie. With that, you all get back. Yeah. You all get back to the Dements with friends and in tow.
I'll give the thing to Lois later, but I'll stop by to Rowan later, but I'll stop by Lois and give her the heads up about my trip out east and the Matchmaker. She seems to be fairly good at this.
Well, I wish you all the luck with it.
Yeah, it's we're gonna have to start having heirs soon enough, and well, I thought I might pass it along. I'll do the same for Rowan when I see her.
That may be the way to go. I honestly haven't had time to give it thought. I've been working on other projects.
You're a career woman?
Oh, well, I am now. Well, I was before, but I really am now.
Okay. True. If you need me, I'm going to go today. I guess we can all talk later, but I'm going to go if you need me, I'm going to go have a chat with Lady Inara. If there's anything from you need from me, is there anything you need to know Lois?
No, not really. I'm going to be looking at what it takes. So I've got the guild filings ready and prepared in advance. So once we get the house officially on the scroll of the 12, then we'll be able to immediately make the application for the two guilds that we were looking at.
Good to know. Good to know. I'll relay that across for you when I see him.
Where's Yed? Isn't he here at the?
Yeah, I assume he's just sleeping. If well, I don't know if Warforged
Sleeping.
They don't really. Warforged doesn't really sleep. They don't really sleep. I'm not sure where he is at the
I just
moment.
say like Cross is like sat down with just a copy of the Cornberg, like I have my name. What?
It feels like I give him the heads up about Lois. Like she's getting the stuff for the scroll of record ready, so we can be formally recognized.
Great.
I'll if I get a chance, Cross, could we talk up later?
But if you guys want to talk now, go ahead. I'll just excuse myself. I've got paperwork to do.
So, just really quick before Lois departs, regarding the letter from Ingrid, if you would allow, I'd like to read that off, as it does pertain to the entire house.
Sure.
I will post it later, but I'm gonna just say it for now. To the esteemed viceroys of House Leora, from the desk of Ingrid Volan, senior matchmaker of the Shielded Hearts Court Office, endorsed by House Kenneth. Honored scions of Leora, allow me to extend both congratulations and my deepest professional respect on the recognition of your house and the emergence of your remarkable mark, a gift of rare potential and undeniable consequence. A birth of a Dragonmark house is a step into legend. To nurture its bloodline is to secure that legacy for generations yet unborn. It is in this spirit of legacy and stewardship that I humbly offer the services of Shielded Hearts, the most trusted name in matrimonial alliances through the Five Nations. Backed by House Deneth and trusted by nobles, guilds, and sovereign courts alike. We specialize in discreet and deliberate matches that present prestige, strengthen alliances, and most critically, ensure the continuation of rare and powerful bloodlines. As a new rising house, House Leora faces a unique imperative to cultivate heirs, forge bonds with influential lines, and anchor your economic future through enduring unions. Marriage, especially amongst the Dragonmark, is not merely personal, it is strategic, it is survival. Our firm offers a curated courtship calendar tailored to your bloodline and political needs, access to the teleportation circle network, exclusive to Shielded Hearts clients, ensuring your viceroys may attend galas, festivals, and noble salons across Corvair with ease, discreet negotiations with noble houses, merchant dynasties, and lesser Dragonmark scions, including those from Karnath, Ondair, and beyond. Private courting retreats and chaperoned visits with fully confidential and protective details when warranted. I have personally reviewed preliminary genealogical analysis regarding early Leora manifestations, and I believe you possess not only mystical potential, but the opportunity to redefine what a Dragonmark lineage can be. Do not let this moment pass unattended. I welcome the opportunity to speak with your appointed liaison or vice-royal representative at their earliest convenience. Should you require discreet or immediate coordination, our Korth and Fairhaven offices are both equipped for urgent consultation. With administration and readiness to serve, Ingrid Volan, the Shielded Hearts. Let me know it. Oh, no, that's all. From Korth Karnath. That is the letter you receive.
Those teleportation protocols back and forth between core for galas could be fairly useful.
Absolutely. And to be perfectly forthright, Ludwig, the reason for my own personal reticence is there's an extra risk in my case and in Rowan's case as well, that we don't know if producing heirs is safe.
Fair.
Which is something that would take a very long time to come to understand. And I'm not certain that I'm willing to put myself at that risk and put House Leora at that risk. Because if we were to produce an aberrant mark because we're doubly marked, that would make House Leora and Thema to the other 12. At least in my estimation. Seeing how the apparent marks are treated, there would be a lot of questions about why that happened, how it happened, et cetera, and we are too young for that to be safely done. Meaning that whatever heirs Rowan or myself might produce would have to be done exceptionally clandestinely until we understood what the impact and outcome would be. And early on, that's just egregiously dangerous.
I understand. It's not something you want to rush into, and it'll take time, and
it's frankly doubly difficult for Rowan and I. It is somewhat easier for the male genders to facilitate the making of heirs, not to put too fine a point onto it.
It all falls to me, you mean?
Not necessarily, but if the desire is for something expeditious would be your area of expertise, due to functions of biology, and the fact that you are not dual marked.
Luisana de Leora, are you suggesting that I do it quickly?
I'm suggesting that if your goal is for quick, you will be as quick as you need to be.
That my sword escapes the scabbard very quickly, more than other warriors might. My brother warriors.
How you handle your dalliances is your business in its entirety, sir.
I see. Well, if you need me, you send a messenger. You'll be sure to find me.
I will keep that in mind.
By the way, did you tell us about your law school success?
Well, that's why I'm preparing the documents, and I've got the official stamp of okie dokie to go ahead and do that.
It's good. Well, good. I was like, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm impressed, but also not surprised at all at your rapid success.
It's a function of my particular sets of traits. I am not a physically intimidating woman. I am a smart woman.
It's like, clearly, and he and Ludvig will bid you both adieu.
Well,
Ludvig's courting alone. What about you, Cross?
You want anybody to warm those cold gears at nights? You want to grind
there's
the
economic
gears, Cross?
There's an economic benefit to marriage even if you don't produce heirs.
It's like something like just lower like the coffee that you just like. What are you?
Warforged could be very popular. Depends
What?
on what attachments they come with.
It's true.
Mhm. True.
Um, I'm finding this borderline offensive.
Like, it's like Cross. We trust you to do what you do. To do what you do best.
I can assure you there will never come a time where I'll ever end up in the bed of someone, of anyone.
Because you are a holy man, or because you are warforged.
Because I'm just not interested.
It's like it's like
Oh man.
I trust your. I will respect your decision, Lord Deliora, and I give you both a bow and adieu.
The interesting thing about the the uh, the edicts with regards to Warforged Cross
Hmm?
is that if we can come to understand the method by which these marks were inherited, and if we can understand the process by which you inherited your mark, there is nothing in any of the current legal precedents to say that we couldn't move forward with marking those Warforged who wanted a dragon mark, or at least for House Leora, if we could figure it out. Make new ones that we can't, but there is no existing precedent that I could find.
I I made some inquiries with Fionn with their trial to how they induce a mark in their heirs. The requirements seem straightforward enough if the methodology varies. I always think back to how we inherited our marks. When I think back to the disaster, I don't. The key factor in inducing the mark of shadow and presumably the other marks was a certain amount of stress. But when we manifested ours, we wouldn't. It was a very sudden change, but there was no true danger to us, and there was hardly enough time to even process the danger at all. We were on the Golden Dragon. A speech was made, noises were heard, and then teleportation. The moment we made ground outside of Fairhaven, the marks manifested.
Well, mine was a little bit stressful. Uh, I mean, not as stressful as the the trial that manifested my mark for House Civis, but stressful enough. Um, I'm given to understand that there are some schools of thought that think that the manifestations are perhaps tied to some of those draconic prophecies. The fact that Kara was killed and the current prevailing thought was that it he was done in by a dragon drives that inference home. So it could be that this new manifestation doesn't necessarily have a trial associated with it in this first generation of manifestations, that subsequent ones may need some sort of trial to make manifest. But that's presumptive. We haven't had time nor funds to do anything associating research like that. We'd need a seat in the Tower of the 12, I would think, to dedicate somebody to that kind of research. In theory, that's what they're doing there.
Well, as you say, I'd like to bring more Warforged into the house. I don't have the luxury of a bloodline, so all I can bet on is finding a trial that works.
Well, if I can leverage any divination to that end, my scope and reach is relatively limited, but if there's something that I can put towards that end, I'm happy to do so. Initially, the only thing that I could think was to verify that there weren't any current legal precedents that would stop us from doing so. And there doesn't appear to be. Not that somebody won't lose their crap if we figure out how.
I mean, I would be
they will very quickly lose their crap.
I'd be surprised if there were any laws prohibiting, well, placing reputations on Warforged and Dragon Marks, because, well, we've never manifested one before. There was never a need to create laws for that which did not exist. So,
and all of that is, to be perfectly frank, is a house of cards anyway. The Treaty of Thronehorde, the Korth Edicts, and even the Code of Gallifrey is the spark of war from being dissolved and going to nation by nation. I mean, even some of the signatories of the Korth Edicts, they aren't necessarily bound to the Code of Gallifrey. They have their own internal laws, which may or may not align. The only thing that is absolutely true is that any signatory nation has to guarantee the same legal rights to any other citizen of a signatory nation that they would give to their own people. Which, in the cases of like Drome, could be very sketchy. And there are some fairly large parties that weren't signatories to the Treaty of Thronehold.
Who were they?
Oh, say like your New Syrian refugees.
I suppose that's true. Syria is no longer a nation, so anything signed by the Syrians is kind of moot.
I mean, no more so than the fact that Drum is a signatory.
Hmm.
But they carved out their piece out of Lost Siri. So there is space to add signatories to the treaty. Uh,
Well, my feelings on the treaty is that it's such an inherently flawed document. It's better to create something else.
well, that will be up to the sovereign nations to get to, or not, and eventually some warlord or sovereign you know reconstitutes a an overlordship, a kingship, call it what you want.
Well, I don't think any of them will be in a rush to draft some new treaty. They're all in a rush to find out where they can get their hands on the nation destroying weapon or hope to be weapon so they can leverage it to take over everything and become ruler of Corvair.
Hey, if you guys want a fun fact, roll me a history check. Both of you would have excellent grounds regarding the Treaty of Thronehold.
My history is actually really bad because I am amnesiac. 5.
5?
20.
Oh, cross. 20. So Lois, you would actually know, quite curiously. I imagine during your legal proceedings, given Lois is a little bit more, like, is very book smart, but is nosy. So I imagine she would have studied the actual proceedings of the Treaty of Thronehold, so it all makes sense. You would know that when basically all of the different parties were sitting down to talk about the Treaty of Thronehold, um, yeah, all of the people who sat down agreed that Ciri and Drome should not be a part of the proceedings, but it was the Queen of Ondare, the current seated Queen of Ondare, who was the first and most ardent voice for pushing out both nations. She said, Ciri is no longer a nation, and thus they have no place at this table, and they were removed under that pretext. She very quickly and very legally had the prince shoved out. And the sisters of Rome, the Hag sisters of Rome as well. But just thought it'd be fun to know how much.
Shit.
Yep, just be fun to know how much Ondare fucked Ciri right around the end of the war.
So that's
So that's what you know, Lois.
Did Cross forget about that?
Well, apparently Cross doesn't know about that. With the,
I guess Griff never told him for some reason.
Well, Lois will be happy to share that particular tidbit of information.
There was like a moment of like the gush of just mist out across his face.
That begs the question of why the prince sent you here as a liaison.
I can only imagine that given that Onda seems to have a habit of throwing other nations under the proverbial carriage, that he thought that maybe they'd be open to the idea of fucking over Brayland.
Well, that's certainly a possibility.
It's probably also why he neglected to inform me of that particular detail of the Treaty of Thronehold. If he had, I would have considered the whole idea of going here a completely wasted effort.
Well, on the bright side is you did get a brand new tattoo for making the trip. So, there is that.
Lois is
Truly, I
dark.
could not be more blessed. This is cost me. Can I be candid with you, Lois? This mark has cost me so many problems. It has derailed my life in ways I cannot begin to express.
I I most truly and sincerely understand.
Remember when
The
the two of us just had normal jobs? We used to have normal jobs.
and I liked doing my normal job. I was reasonably good at it. Now I'm doing stuff that I suppose I can get good at.
I'm traveling back to Karnav, which I swear I'd never go back to.
Ugh.
An ambassador, I need to go to other countries even if I don't like them. Oh my god!
Rude as fuck.
Well,
It's just
Carneth is a special case.
It's
But think about it, if you guys go to Col-
The people
it's not even the only like ambassador that exists in New Zealand.
the people who don't like Carnath really don't like Carnath.
Oh, yeah.
There's plenty of reasons to not like.
like
There's
what?
plenty of reasons to not like all of the nations.
Spoilers.
We tried. Look. We tried to end the war. We proposed the peace treaty. Just saying.
Nothing to
That
do
is
with that.
fair for all of Karnath's faults. It was King Caius III who was the original architect of the Treaty of Thronehold.
I mean,
It's
from the
easier to
perspective of
feed if
Cross, that might
people
be
are
a
at
bad
peace.
thing anyway.
But there's
So-
also rumors that he's a vampire, so who cares?
Like,
What's wrong
who
with him?
cares? What's about?
Hey.
Oh, he's not a vampire. What's the big problem if he's a vampire? So what? He
There's
got
no
peace. What's the
problem.
big deal?
Hey,
Well, the reason he's not
it's-
kill. He's the reason we're not killing each other. He sounds like a great
It's-
guy to me.
It's a grocery thing. During
It's just
times of
dietary
war,
restrictions.
people are out there fighting and expending energy doing that stuff. They're very lean and fat and happy people are the ones who are at peace and are relatively prosperous. Those are much better to feed on. It's a much better dietary choice.
So when can we expect for all of this? Actually, I remember like the document with all the steps we had to take. Which I remember less about.
Oh my god. Let me go see if I can find that.
Because that would give me a better idea. I should have saved it. I should have saved the link and put it in my notes so I could just revisit whenever. Maybe I did. See if past me was
I don't
intelligent.
know if I've got
There
a
we
copy.
go. I got it. I just need to do a little scrolling, but I think I found it. All right. Sharp program message from. Here we go. Scroll. Okay, here we go. That is in the handouts document, by the way.
Okay.
If you're looking for it. Yeah, which one? I'm gonna go find out. Maybe it's oh, I guess I have it in my services document. I don't know why that would be services. What should I title this one?
Steps to success.
Sure, steps to success. Why not?
So you want to get validated?
So you want to be valid. Step 1, proof of the mark. The house must demonstrate multiple individuals with stable, heritable dragon marks. The Baroness says, in quotes there, we need to speak on the heritable part. You must also publicly display the mark and its abilities, which is complete. You've done that. You need a neutral authority, such as House Civis, House Kondarik, or a neutral tribunal of the 12 to verify the mark is genuine. You guys can get that done pretty quickly. Just choose your neutral authority. It's a pretty formative, formality, Step 2, your application to the 12. Your founder's petition to the 12. I would say that that's probably done in a waiting review. So I'll change that. Awaiting review, which is probably a Rowan thing, really. You must present genealogical records, manifest evidence of the Dragon Mark's power, which you have done, and make a proposal outlining what areas of commerce and industry you will serve. You must avoid direct compensation of existing houses.
Okay.
So that's kind of where you are. You're in step 2. You need to get some stuff in step 1 done, but those are the guys. That's where you're at right now. You haven't quite made it to step 3. You have to present your application in step 2 before you can move on to step 3. So Ludvig has his genealogy, Lois has her genealogy, Cross has probably a serial number to some, has a little mark. Actually, it's not. So
it's
you're
been destroyed. Yeah, I have no genealogical records.
Yep.
No one.
Sorry,
if they
dude.
exist, I've been trying to find them myself. So
well, this might. Hey,
cause a
you might be
problem.
able. You might be able to use the 12 to leverage people to give you that information at this point.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Like,
And Rowan is working on hers. So
Yeah.
we're just waiting on Rowan, really.
Yeah.
Everyone has a lot to do when she gets back.
I'll say
Rowan's
for Lois.
adopted, so that's tough.
Yeah. I'll say
Yeah.
for Lois then. Well, it seems we still need. There's a question mark over what's required as far as. It feels weird even say genealogical. I don't.
It's a perhaps ancestry is a better choice than genealogical.
Not for want of trying, but one of the things I've been looking for in private is my history. I don't know for whom I served in the last war. I don't know which forge I was built from. So,
with all of that said, Lois, as a lawyer, make me a very legal insight or investigation check. Your choice.
15.
15. So Cross has basically said, like, I've been looking really hard to try and find that information, but it's kind of lost. You think in this moment as a lawyer, it would, you'd have to spin it and you'd have to like pose your case. But genealogy, essentially, when you break it down, it's like what or who you were produced from, and who else was produced from said thing. With that said, Cross's quote unquote sire would be the creation forge that Cross was created from, which means that you might also be able to get the records of the other Warforged that were created from the same creation forge, and you could, on Cross's behalf, perhaps present a case that might leverage the powers that be, House Cannith, to release the information of their creation forges and which units were created. Similarly to Cross's, maybe some of them have similar genealogical abilities to produce a dragon mark of House Vila.
Let me ask you a question, Cross. It may be possible to subpoena House Cannith. We'll have to do it in thirds, but would you be willing for them to understand that you have injuries and persistent
You have chronic pain.
persistent and long-term damage associated with the morning?
that's the prevailing theory.
Gassiness.
Is there may be beyond the mark that many of the Warforged have, there may be other identifying criterion that House Cannith may be aware of that could help us pinpoint which forge, and if we're going to go after genealogical, ancestral information, we may be able to subpoena and legally request the other warforged that were part of that same creation forge. I don't know if they were done in batches, if there was if there were production runs like they do with wine, they make so many bottles a year, or I don't know what that process was like, but we may be able to ask that question. But it's probably going to require the permission for an examination if there's some other telltale part of your being that they can look at to say, you came from this place. Alternatively, we may be able to seek out folks who are diviners who may be able to ask that question of a higher power, and we may be able to have that information given in some manner that will be I won't say it'll be any less invasive. Not that I'm necessarily expecting the Cannith investigation to be invasive, but they're probably going to have a peek see. If that's something that you want, I'll happily prepare the documentation, and we'll see the three leaders of Cannith served with subpoenas.
If we go the route of subpoena, in your estimation as a lawyer, what would you think my chances are of being able to request to know where I was sent after I was made?
I would think that the odds are reasonably good. There is precedent for orphans who have reason to suspect that they may have, a noble background of some kind, for them to petition the courts for, identity, which would yield genealogical records and those types of sourcing to prove that, this is the long lost heir of place here.
Well,
We could leverage that sort of precedent to get your details. Part of that would underlie that one of those two options, either an investigation by the folks from Cannith and they may not turn up anything, or they may not willingly divulge anything, but dodging veracity is more difficult in that case. Zone of truth exists. Compulsion exists.
That it does.
And we have access to both. So getting getting information, if it exists, is more likely. Whether it exists or doesn't is dependent on how pervasive your damage is and what other sorts of telltales there might be. It may be that each of the creation forges utilized different combinations of materials or had peculiarities about how your construction was done as far as the inner workings that make you you. I just don't know. And the folks from Canis, because largely of the treaty have and what took place during the morning, have been reticent about sharing any of that information.
I am willing to consent to an examination under one strict condition, that it will be purely for the purpose of identifying which forge I was made from and finding others of my generation,
Lineage.
shall we say, or lineage. I refuse to be the subject of some, I don't know,
scientific exploration.
Exactly.
It will be for a very specific purpose that has a very specific value and worth to you as an individual.
I have felt people rummaging around inside my inner workings before, and I can tell you that it is not pleasant, particularly when their goal is to learn, I don't know,
learn something invasive about your person. And I would feel the same if somebody were poking around at my guts and internals as well. In fact, I am generally opposed to people poking around at my guts. That hurt, and I don't recommend it. But if that's something that you would like, I will start preparing the documentation. There should be there's ample parallel precedent, and it would potentially open the doors for other Warforged, if we're successful, for them to ask that same question.
Then I'll that in your hands. I'd like it in writing that if there are any particular discoveries about my, I guess, unique situation as a Warforged, I want that destroyed. I don't want there to be documentation. I don't want there to be diagrams of my inner workings.
Probably what will need to be part of the ongoing legal record, if, say, internally somewhere there is a mirror of the stamp that was damaged, or some other secondary identifying mark, that probably would need to remain as evidence. But any secondary, personally identifying material could be expunged.
That's reasonable. If they won't agree to destroy it, I'd at least like it turned over to me personally.
Well, absolutely. In fact, I think that it is perfectly reasonable to make the request that any findings from that examination shall remain your personal property with no extraneous copies being made.
I'm glad you understand exactly what I would like.
I will happily recreate HIPAA
Oh my god.
specifically for the Warforged.
Hell yeah.
All right. Very cool. All right. Here we go. Law and Order is about to be Lois's new theme song. That's
Okay.
sorry, Madani.
Okay. Okay.
Speaking of which, you wanted to go see Madani
Yes.
the other
No. 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 I'm going to go see Lady Diffial, the Inara.
Oh, Inara. We're gonna go see Inara. Okay. You head over. She's not hard to find. She always makes herself as available as possible to House Leora. And yeah, the beautiful Lady Inara de Via Erlin is, of course, present. And she says, "Hello, Ludvig."
Is like is she in the middle of class or something or?
She's like reading a book, we'll say. She's like sitting on a bench reading. You know what? She's grading papers. That's what she's doing. She
I hope I'm
works
not.
here.
I hope I'm not interrupting you too much.
Happily interrupting. Paperwork is monotonous.
I was like, well, well, consider me a happy distraction from this mundane work.
Oh, consider you a happy one.
Well, nevertheless,
I like a man with confidence.
feels like is it true confidence or false confidence?
As long as it seems confidence, I'll take arrogance even.
Very well. I I am curious, Lady Inara. How did you and Rowan become such good friends?
Hmm. Let's just say we met in equally fortuitous circumstances. We were clandestine and, I suppose, destined to have common cause. And that led us to become allies, friends even.
Feels like interests converge, so to say.
Indeed, I would say exactly.
Hmm. I would guess in Dargoon, perhaps, or up here in Fairhaven.
Why are you asking me and not Rowan, I wonder?
She's a very busy woman, and I don't want to interrupt her.
Hmm.
But truth be told, I flipped a coin and your head came up.
Oh, I see. We've known each other here in Fairhaven for quite some time, I would say. A couple of years, in fact.
Let's see. I have to pry more details out of that particular meeting when I next see Rowan. I get the chance to
Perhaps
ask
indeed.
her. Do you? Here's another question, and tell me if this guess of mine is correct.
No promises.
That day we met, and that night we met in the Queen's Courts.
Mm-hmm.
There was suddenly about a great hubbub that several notable people began leaving, and you seem to know what it would be, what it was. It was all that business in Carnath, wasn't it?
Let me think. No, I don't believe it was.
Do I
You
believe
haven't
her?
figured it out yet.
Can I roll an insight check, Ryan?
Sure, go ahead.
23. Do I believe her?
You, for a brief moment, you do, but the coy smile on her lip, the very intentional coy smile on her lip. There's a moment there where you're like, okay, and you believe her just for but a moment, and then she kind of curls a lip at you in a smile that makes you question. You don't know. You don't know if she's telling you the truth or if she's lying, and she knows you can't. And there's a sort of silent conversation here where she demonstrates her skill at oration, shall we say.
I envy that. I envy that about you. I don't know. I don't know whether but your ability to speak and gain people's confidence and instill thoughts in their heads.
Well, I wouldn't be a very good professor of oration if I wasn't good at speaking. Would I?
It's no, you wouldn't. It's particularly maddening on the receiving end, but it's quite enviable.
Envy's always such a fun topic.
Mm-hmm. If I might ask you a bit more of a serious question, if I may,
By all means.
I am from Karnath, of course, and we have only we have Thorani out there. I thought for a long time that was just what everyone had out in the world.
A Thurani?
If as the Mark of Shadows, House of Entertainments, and
Yes,
I've
indeed.
been corrected on that in the last month or so. I am curious, why exactly are there two Marks of Shadow? Why are they not united?
Ooh. Now that is a good little piece of lore.
My job is
going.
to the reason I seek this knowledge is because I'm going to be diplomats. That is the mark of diplomacy, and understanding where conflicts come from will be critical to my job.
Maybe a persuasion check. See if she's willing to divulge that information to you.
Okay. 24.
She cocks an eyebrow at you and considers, and then invites you to sit next to her on the little bench that she's on. She is going to wave her hand, and her mark is going to ignite, and something happens. You feel the wave of magic around you, but you're not sure what it is. And she speaks in a soft tone now and says, "Well, in these halls you're going to find out about it sooner or later. I don't suppose you've ever heard of the Shadow Schism."
I think that phrase was thrown around earlier, but I do not know the context behind it.
Well, I can tell you. This was not too long ago, as I'm sure you have noticed. House Fjarlan and House Thurani split during the last war. It would have been during your lifetime. You see, there was a dispute about a trader, or a series of traders, within the House of Fjarlan. This was back when all of the Marks of Shadow were a part of a singular house, under House Fjarlan. But there always has been 5 bloodlines that were the most strongest, were the most powerful. And one of those bloodlines, which you will have not heard of them ever again, is the Paleon family within House Fjarlin. It was revealed to a member of our house that the Paleon family was working from Brayland, and that they were behind an assassination plot against the children of Wynon to essentially try and use the power of the Mark to create a mass assassination. It was take control of Corvair and so on and so forth. This information came from a member of the Order of the Emerald Claw. So naturally, the recipient of that information was skeptical. But in the end, they were convinced and struck quick and struck fast using the whole of the bloodline of House Eberron. They attacked in one night across Corvair and slaughtered every member of the Paleon line within House Fjarlin. Children, women, all. It was, as you can imagine, quite a shock to the Baroness Alvinor, who was outraged, naturally, and declared that the family of the bloodline of Thurani was to be exorciated from House Fjarlin for their crimes, not necessarily believing that there was to be this mass assassination. They were exorciated, and Elar du Thurani declared themselves Baron and established Thurani through the 12. It was a little bit of a paperwork mess, but eventually they were allowed to establish themselves, and we came to an agreement that they would take the east and we would take the west. As I'm sure you've grasped by now, it was the current day Baron Elar du Thurani who received the information from the agent of the Order of the Emerald Claw. It was put into his hands whether or not to believe them and assassinate the Paleon line. Now, of course, the bloodlines of House Fjarlin insist that Thurani was irresponsible, they shouldn't have done it. But House Thurani holds that it was all done in necessity. In fact, Ludvig, you should probably be thankful to House Thurani for their actions, as apparently the assassination plot involved assassinating all the rulers of the 5 nations, including your beloved King Caius Irwydon III. So, whether Paleon was actually planning this, or House Thurani attacked it too swiftly and too preemptively on the orders of the Emerald Claw, well, I'm sure only the Baron Elar du Thurani can say. But that is what happened.
Ludwig is quite a moment as he thinks of everything.
It is not something that is spoken of by many, if often, I would advise.
The advice is do not bring this up with the Baroness lightly.
Do not bring this up with the Baroness lightly, as she was the one who exorciated the entire bloodline. I wouldn't bring it up with mostly anyone. It is few who know that House Fjarlin and House Thurani operates in the dark for darker purposes. It is fewer still who understand the circumstances of the Shadow Schism, as you have been told. But considering your closeness with our house now, it's only a matter of time before Leora becomes in on it, so you're welcome.
That is a remarkable story. It's maddening in a way that I can already have so many questions about it.
There are many questions regarding it. Many still unanswered even by Fionn.
Mm.
Was Thurani treacherous, or did they truly stop a mass assassination attempt?
If
Who
it
can
was
say?
if it was a mass assassination attempt, why kill the children?
Well,
Did- did-
well, Ludvig, you were a soldier. I'm sure you understand the concept of vengeance. You see, any man or woman would have been an agent of House Fjarlin, probably was an agent of House Fjarlin, was capable as a assassin, as a spy, as an infiltrator.
uh,
I'm sure the Baron Thurani knew the only way to be sure that the plot had been snuffed out and stopping retribution upon themselves was to eliminate the entire bloodline and to do it swiftly and without warning. And to protect themselves, the children had to go as well, to stop some child rising up in vengeance for the line. I understand it, as brutal as it is, but I'm sure as a soldier of Karnath you can understand about such brutality.
that that I can understand brutality, but I feel like vengeance is decades away. It's they could prove. I just have questions. I'm sorry. Certainly
It's
about
okay.
certainly about the claw. Like,
Well, I can tell you this. This all happened in 1972, so more than 25 years ago. So
there's
it was probably a little before your
just
time.
before, yes, but just before I was born.
Yeah, it's just before you were born. Apparently, in the tribunal, the member of the Order of the Emerald Claw that came forth was an individual known as Knight Superior Hadrath Ir Vodik.
Do I recognize that name, Ryan?
Make me a history check.
17.
You do. He was a high-ranking member of the Order of the Emerald Claw, but was considered a war hero. Like the Emerald Claw's extremism and terrorism is a more recent event. So he was, he was around when the Emerald Claw was still considered an honorable and elite member of the Karnathi, army.
Yeah, this man hadn't been. This is before what happened to him afterwards?
Let's see here. Didenbad. This was 25 years ago.
This was before the time they were denounced and and became traitors. But do you think the rot could have set in that far back?
That is the speculation. The question is the matter of beyond Thurani, did Thurani act in haste on bad information that was presented by a now terrorist group that was perhaps at the time giving fake information, false evidence to the Baron Elar to convince him to perform this great act for their own benefit, to destabilize the Dragonmont houses? Who can say what their motives would be? But, well, the Emerald Claw the Emerald Claw was outlawed just a few short years later. So it's quite probable. There's no way to know. The Paleon family was destroyed so quickly and so swiftly and so efficiently that there's no witnesses to attest to the actual event. There's no evidence to state whether the Emerald Claw was pulling one over Elar or if they were genuinely trying to warn Elar.
Or there was some other shadowy player in all this.
There always seems to be.
Like,
The Emerald Enclave only defected a couple years later.
Emerald Claw.
Emerald Claw, excuse me.
Yes. What's the Enclave? Anyway, this must be a headache for historians to go through.
Imagine the headache that Elar went through.
Sure.
He had to play with the lives of the entire 5 nations, and make a terrible decision to execute the entire bloodline, children and all, get exorciated for what he insists was what happened, and then create an entire mark. So it's anyone's guess what the truth of the matter is, if he was just grasping for power or what.
How would you advise? How do you imagine House Leor would have to walk in Carnath and in the east if we were to serve all of Corvair?
Oh, if Leora wishes to be successful, it will serve all the 5 nations and beyond.
Tharani will be it'll be a tricky matter.
I don't see why.
Well, how much do you know about what happened out east?
Not much. You all been rather busy since leaving for Carnath. I haven't had much time to talk to any of you.
Like, would they? I'll be a bit more blunt. Would they view us as enemies since we are aligned with you?
We are House Thurani and House Fionn aren't enemies. We are business rivals. Now, we are business rivals. We have certain, shall we say, practices in place, treaties in place, to keep us from staying out of each other's way, you understand? An agent of House Fjarlan cannot slay an agent of House Thurani, and vice versa.
A fist fight is forgivable, but you can't kill them.
Yes, it would be a great issue. So, the rules of the game keep us from each other's throats, for the most part. They take over business to the east, and we take over business to the west. Our various levels of expertise set us above them, and them above us in different ways. But we are all spies, and we keep eyes on one another. I don't think that they would view you as an enemy.
I would also, I would hope that we could also make clear to them that although we are close with Fjarlan, we bear no hostility towards Tharani. Perhaps that could be a tightrope we would have to walk.
Well, it sounds like right now you're in the business of getting yourselves ready as a dragon-marked house to be legally recognized. And you, Viceroy Leor, are in the business of making babies.
Word travels fast around here, doesn't it? Especially among you Fjarlan lots.
Well, it's our job to know.
Are you good at keeping secrets?
I am a book of secrets.
May I call you a friend?
Let's go find out. Let's see what the relationship status is there. She says, Ludvig, we go back 2 months, of course.
Well, I am, yes, I'm looking for a bride. Yes, I'll admit to it.
I'm flattered, but
no, feels like, oh please, Lady Fiona, you are far beyond my reach. I couldn't even hope. I could not even reach for you, even if I tried.
Flattery. She kind of pats you on the arm. It'll get you everywhere.
It'll get me somewhere, perhaps. I do hope.
But you are right. We have conflicting marks, don't we?
Yes, exactly.
So is it then to be presumed that you and Lady Madani have nothing going on?
There's absolutely nothing between us.
Make a deception check.
But it's nothing. It's the truth. It's the truth now.
Well, there's something going on. It's not official, but I think there's feelings there, though.
It feels like it's not. We broke up. That's all I'm saying. But okay, deception. I'll allow deception. I'm going 15, but I'm going to throw in a commander's presence for that one, just to. 5 unnatural 20.
An unnatural 20?
Yeah.
She sort of looks at you and says,
That's nothing.
rumor mill would say different.
Feels like
But if you insist.
the rumor still says many silly things.
Oh, I suppose so. Well,
Uh,
I...
Before
Yes.
before I let you return to your walk, very boring walk, and end this very interesting conversation,
Mhm.
I am on a lighter subject. I am interested in learning more about 2 things that you might feel and has more expertise in.
Mhm.
One would be the matter of poetry.
Oh,
I
you're still
have
reaching despite the height, huh?
Oh, please.
Or is this for the lucky Carnathy goers?
I have read my fair share of poetry. One of my brothers has been very talented in it, and I've read some of his stuff. I might even share some of it with you one day. And
Ludvig, my goodness. You know how
I've
to treat a girl well.
it feels like some very I know how girls should be treated. But
Oliver raised his boys well.
Mhm. Excellent Carnathy gentleman, but
I didn't
I'm
know
all
there was such a thing.
now, please, Lady
A
Violin.
Carnathy gentleman.
Feels like it's just complete. It feels like warriors on the battlefield, but gentlemen in the bedroom, you could say.
Oh my. My oh my. She like
But
waves herself.
but I remember back in the military, I've heard from another soldier of mine, a fellow of mine, who said this about poetry that's always stuck with me. Poetry is like the truth, and people do not like hearing the truth.
What nonsense. Who doesn't love to hear poetry?
Uh,
At least my poetry.
but yours, well, he probably never heard of yours.
No, he
I,
just hadn't read any good poetry.
but I'm not. I've tried many times, and I respect the arts, but I'm not an expert in it. Is there a way I might become more? I might find a way to understand it more.
She sort of gestures broadly to the dements. And she's going to say, welcome to the dements of memory, where we teach speaking, writing, oration, and all the things one needs to be more, shall we say, persuasive an artist.
Does poetry come up in your classes?
Also, in my classes, I'm more about public speaking, oration, but there are absolutely professors here who run classes to do with the written word.
I would like to I might sit on them to try to understand it more.
I'd be more than happy to arrange your attendance in such a class if you have the time.
And the second matter, this is a purely personal one as well.
All right.
Uh, I do not have much talent for the written word, unlike my brother and others, and such as yourself. But I'm fascinated by painting.
Oh, how it seems the Drager boys were taught to be warriors and not courtiers, I suppose.
Feels like
Suitors.
we were taught many things in my household. My father made sure of that, but I'm not. Some things took more priority than others.
Well, if you want an art appreciation class, there is no shortage of galleries here in Ondair. If you're looking to study painting and art history, I'm afraid you're in the wrong place. However, we are a school of writing, literature, speaking.
I may have to learn it the old way by myself.
Perhaps. You could always, of course, read a book.
Yeah, feels like, and I would like to surprise you, but yes, we Connaughties can in fact read a book.
My goodness.
You'll
Well, you're going to have to hurry with all these studies. If I'm not mistaken, next month is coming quite quickly.
I've read have to make time for these classes to help understand it a bit more. But
Perhaps I might just give you some books for the train ride if you're going to be back to Karnath soon.
I would love any books you can recommend.
And she will take out a little slip of paper, and she will write down the title of a number of books she would recommend to do with art history, the appraisal of art,
How
poetry, so on and so forth. And she will hand it to you.
how to books, I guess.
How-to books. And she'll also give you one last cheeky one that says, reading for reading for young or something like that. And give you a wink. And that will represent a mark of your friendship, as you have established a friendship relationship with Lady Inara. So that'll be considered a token of favor. How many tokens of favor do you have?
I'm pretty sure I have one for my dad. I'm sure I have one for my dad. I have one for Moro. I have one for Minara. I think I might have more, but but those
No,
three.
I think that's it because you lost your Madani one.
Yeah, I'm working to try to get more of those.
All right, you're tapped up. That's all of your tokens of favor.
Yeah, I definitely. Wait, I can only have 3.
You can only have as many as your proficiency bonus. Yes.
Okay, then I might have to hold on to that.
Keep in mind, you can burn them. You can burn them for when you need them. You can burn them for different reasons.
Yeah, but I gotta keep up good relations with other people just to get ready. But yes.
Well, keep in mind, it doesn't. If you use a token of favor, it will be hard to get it back, and it will affect the relationship. But it's not going to like burn the relationship to the ground. Like you might lose a point or two. You're not gonna. It's not gonna like set you to 0.
And not with Marina, it went back to a 0 because
that's because you broke up with her.
But yeah, it did. But it depends on the relationship also. Like,
all right,
but I'm sure. And if this is the last thing we do before we end the session, I just do 2 last things. I train with Vedum.
Oh yeah, you say hi. You say hi to the little guy. He's very hard worked. One of the he's not very hard worked. He's learning more than he's ever learned. Like he's getting a lot of information shoved into his head, and some of his tutors sort of come to you. Like when you show up, they're like, Viceroy Leo, the young lad is using his talents to get out of class here, and he'll tell you that he maybe uses his mark here and there to get around studies when he doesn't want to.
Like
or actually no, he wouldn't come to you with that. He wouldn't know because that's the mark's quality. Or actually, he only has a lesser mark, so the guy he wouldn't know. He would know that he's being charm person. He'd be like, it's entirely inappropriate.
It feels like I make sure to bring it to him, like to praise his talents, but please focus on your classes or no more training.
He looks sad, and he goes, "Okay."
Do we have a deal? I make I offer him a handshake.
Yeah, he kind of very sadly shakes hands. He complains a little bit to you about how it's a lot.
I know how you. I'm sure you'll live up to you'll rise to the challenge. I believe it.
I get my D's and G's all mixed up.
It feels like D's are shaped like this. G's are shaped like this. You'll catch on soon enough.
Fair enough. What is the second item?
I'm going to send a gift to Warlord Ron Ilmardak.
Ooh. Okay, what are you sending?
I'm going to go out to the store and try and find some good Ondarian wine. The kind of stuff you can't quite get in Karnath. You don't have that doesn't grow naturally in Karnath, perhaps.
Okay. Yeah, mark off I believe fine wine is 10 gold a bottle, and that's like really good. That's that good. That's that good shit. That's like $1,000 bottle. Yeah, a fine bottle of wine is 10 GP. So how many of those would you like to purchase?
10 GP.
10 GP a bottle.
I will send him. I'll send him 3. One for
Okay.
himself, one for himself, one for any guests in the party, and one as a gift if he wants to have send it to anyone.
Right.
And
3 of them.
And I get ready to, and I go to the Orion delivery service.
God, yeah, just standard delivery. It's one.
Delivery service, and I also put in a letter, a little note.
It's
That's
5 gold for the delivery, just so you know.
okay. It's just 5 gold for the delivery from here to Fairhaven to Korth.
Yep.
Okay, 5 gold. I throw in 1 tip, another gold for a tip for the messenger.
Holy fuck! Thanks so much, mister.
No. yeah, I forget. Like, oh yeah, I'm rich.
Whenever anyone tips a gold, it's like, guys, that's $100 tip. That's crazy.
It's okay. I write to the and the notes I hand him to also make sure this gets to him as well. To Warlord Vron Ilmordak, may you and your household enjoy this small pleasure of Ondair. We at House Leora wish you and your family well and hope to hear from you again soon. Ludvig de Leora.
Very nice. Very cool. Cool. With that, we will end the session off there. I wish to. I wanna have a